Welcome to this special edition of the Real Deal Podcast, a non-sports edition of the Real Deal Podcast. Because I had to bring in a guest, had to kind of dust her off from former rookie of the year from the Insecure Season 5 podcast. Queen is back.
Yo, yo, yo.
Queen
Dust off.
returns.
Not dust me off, though.
Had to dust, it's been like a year. It's been like a year since you've been on.
Ain't been no year.
It has been like, it really has been a year.
Has it been?
Yes, this time
No
last year we
way.
were doing Insecure Season 5.
All right, because the finale was like,
The finale was
that
like
was
December.
September.
Yes.
Dang,
Yeah.
wow.
That year went by quick year.
Quick year.
When you turn 40.
When you turn 40.
Okay, 40 and up.
40 and
Okay. All my 40s.
So we are here though to discuss one of the best romantic comedies of I think the last 25 to 30 years. It turned 25 this year. Love Jones came out in 1997. I remember it was written and directed by Theodore Witcher. I have a lot on him because he had a very interesting career after that. So this is when this movie came out in 1997. Was not a bunch of big hubbub about it. I went to see this movie with a couple of friends. One of those being your husband, our friend group, and a couple of dates. I don't even know if they were dates. I think they were like
just gonna throw that in there.
I don't think they were dates.
And now I got questions. Okay.
This is 1997 now. This is 1997.
It's that meetup.
Yes.
Exactly.
I think it was a
Y'all
meetup.
sticking to the movies now.
I think it was a meetup. I think it was because we were not dating these girls, so this was a meetup. So it was a meetup with that included women and not women. We were kids. That included high school kids. I was 18 years old when this came out, and walked out the movie theater. It's like, yo, this is a nice, cool movie, and was blown away, of course, by what made the movie. And we will talk, I'm sure, extensively on about this. It was the soundtrack. Like immediately, is one of the best, and I'm not saying this.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the best movie soundtracks ever, like ever. It's not even a question. Like you're talking Lauryn Hill, Diane Ferris, Maxwell, Escape, Tina Broussard, Groove Theory, Coltrane, and John Coltrane, Kenny Lattimore, Brandon.
Oh yeah, so straight through. Listen,
Cassandra Wilson, Michelle Nadekalo. I can't pronounce it. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I mean, literally one of the best movie soundtracks ever. I mean, I'm not hyperbole. No, it's ever. So that immediately had to get the soundtrack. And again, this movie spawned. You have to remember about this era, right? We talk about the hip hop. There's a marriage between hip hop and movies and soundtracks. Like people think about Above the Rim, think about that soundtrack. Deep Cover, think about that soundtrack with that movie. This was the gangster era. Like we're talking 97, coming off the deaths of Tupac and Biggie. Matter of fact, this movie came out a little bit after Biggie was killed. And everything. I mean, all the movies that were coming up during that time, Menace to Society, yeah, Boys in the Hood. All these movies had memorable soundtracks for just and I don't even like the term anymore. I don't think that term has aged well, gangster rap. But that's what it was. This one,
I mean, you had Boomerang though. Yeah,
Boomerang. Yes, that was
the
Boomerang.
Soundtrack now.
No, Boomerang was one of the best soundtracks too. So Boomerang, and I think this, the only rom-com I would put up there with this one would be Boomerang. I think Boomerang is like, I think Boomerang is over.
I'm a rom-com person now. Okay,
yes.
You bought the rom-com person.
Okay. So
wait and take tail. You got wait and take tail. Okay.
So you had this over Boomerang.
What, Love Jones?
Yes.
With the soundtrack?
Oh, I'm talking about the movie.
Oh, the movie.
No, I'm talking no, the soundtrack. I think this is better. No, this soundtrack is better than Boomerang soundtrack, without question. That's not even close. It's not even close.
Absolutely.
It's not even close. It's not even close. Boomerang has about 4 or 5 hits on the soundtrack. This one, no, this is not even close. But I was talking about during this time period, you had mostly it was a lot of like hood movies that came out.
I got you.
It was 2 kinds of movies that came out. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. It was 2 kinds of movies that were coming out mostly. It was the gangster violence hood movie, or the oppressed hood movie where you had Jada Pinkett trying to get out of her surroundings and start a new life somewhere. That's
you had the conscious movies, yeah, for sure. You had the conscious movies,
or the couple conscious movies like Higher Learning.
Yeah, right, Higher right, exactly. Or you had the Black Love movies. You're right. Yes.
So
I agree.
This was different. Like this was you're talking about a photographer getting involved with a writer. You're talking about this. It ushered in, and I want to see what your thoughts about this as an artist. It ushered in to me the spoken word. I wasn't thinking about spoken word before this came out.
Yeah. The underground.
Yeah, that underground,
sure.
right.
Yeah.
They're in that club. What's that club named? The Sanctuary.
The Sanctuary.
The Sanctuary. Yeah. Very interesting name for a
yeah.
This was shot in Chicago. Great city to shoot. I mean, just some great skylines and what have you. So it was this movie kind of to me was a game changer in terms of ushering in that that kind of ushered in even that neo soul sound, to be honest with you.
Totally. Yeah.
The neo soul sound, the musics of the world. This came out the same year as Erykah Baduism. Then we saw that the Jill Scott and what have you. So this was a movie. This movie was definitely a game changer. Did you go see this in the theaters or did it cable television? When did you see this movie?
I'm going to say I think I probably definitely saw it in the movies.
Okay.
This is 97.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was one of those sneak to the movies. Go check it out. Yep. Probably in Union Station.
Gotcha.
Shout out to DC.
DC. So we talk about the leading characters in this movie, of course. You had Lorenz Tate and Nia Long. At the time, you have Nia Long is 27 when this comes out. Lorenz Tate is 22. They had now these are two actors that had been around even up until this point. They had been around for a while, via say as child actors. They went through that route. Nia Long we had seen her. She was still relatively new to the big screen. Looking at her IMDb, she we had seen her in Boys in the Hood, another corny movie with not Boys in the Hood corny, but that was corny. But the Ted Danson Whoopi Goldberg movie
I just watched that joint not too long ago.
It was oh my God, it was horrible.
Stop judging me, but I just watched that Made in America.
Made in America.
I'm telling you, I'm a rom-com, okay?
Yeah, Made in America.
I just watched that movie.
So they had both, and we had saw she was on Guiding Light. Her and Lorenz.
This is Nia Long, right?
Nia Long. Yeah,
I remember that. Okay.
So they had this was their first starring movie. This was the first movie where they both did. I looked at them as co-leads. There was no one person. They were co-leads in this movie. Per se. Lorenz Tate was probably a bigger name at this point. He had been in coming off Old Dog and Menace.
Oh yeah.
Also with he had been we saw him he was all over television.
I was gonna say he was in that show
South Central.
Right?
Yeah, South Central. And then had been Family Manners. He had a couple episodes of Family Manners.
Oh yeah.
So Lorenz Tate probably was a slightly bigger name, but this was his first leading role per se. So you get two fresh relatively fresh actors, and I was thinking about it, like I think it was perfect for two relatively new actors to play these parts. I'm not sure if you get like I'm not sure like a Will Smith would have been good in this part. You know what I'm saying?
No.
That type of role. Denzel, of course, too old. Even in '97, Denzel was too old. He's probably
Yeah.
definitely in his 40s. So this was, I think that these two actors were perfectly cast for this role, for these particular roles. Um, let's talk about the opening shot because I think is when I went back and watched this last night. The opening shot in this movie was incredible. So they're playing Deion Fair's Hopeless. You have and I'm assuming that these photographers that this was her work in terms of these shots. These photographers, she was a photographer. So I'm assuming that this was her work. You have basically the people of Chicago getting taking picture photographs of the people of Chicago in black and white, and then you have her daydreaming about a past relationship or relationship that she had just come off with Marvin, who her ex boyfriend. Her friend Josie, played by Lisa Nicole Carson, is helping her move out. What do you think about that opening sequence to this movie?
Oh, I mean, it sets the tone. Sets the tone for the movie. It definitely sets that, like you said, that neo soul, and neo soul is probably one of my favorite eras of music. So,
Yes, absolutely.
that's what really set the tone, I think, for the movie. Introducing like, like you said, I guess this new genre of music, but also highlighting culture, right? So it's setting the tone of, Chicago. What I like to think of it as like, what's one of my favorite? Gosh, hold on, I'm about to get tied up and trying to figure out what it is. But I mean, I guess that's my answer. Is that it just set the tone?
Yeah, she is clearly at a point in her life where she's transitioning. Like she's moving, um, coming off a relationship, and doesn't kind of is in limbo, so to speak. Kind of doesn't seem like she knows what she wants to. I mean, she's a photographer, but she's a struggling photographer. But it's like I guess you want it's just like somebody coming off a relationship. She's transitioning. She's trying to figure out what's going to be next. She has the line with Lisa with Josie saying, the love shit is basically played out like an A-track. So you have that going on. Lisa Nicole Carson, our friend, our bit who plays the best friend. How would you rate her best friend performance? Was she a good best friend in this movie?
Yeah, for sure. Totally.
I think she was too.
Absolutely.
I think she
Yeah,
was too.
for sure.
So that opening sequence kind of sets the tone of the movie. We can immediately now jump into. So I want to talk about the director real quick because he and writer because I found it very interesting his career trajectory, which was kind of like one and done. So he directs this and writes it. He has this vision, and he mentioned this during an interview. He has a vision of he got tired of seeing some of the same type movies, and he says, "Hey, I want to do something different. I want to see our people in a different light." He does this, and you look at his career, the rest of his career. I mean, it's like he does this in '97. You got Body Count in '98. Didn't see that one.
Never heard of it.
As a writer, games that people play in 2021. Didn't see that one. And he directed the video. Now this one probably his second best, biggest piece of accomplishment. He directed the City High video. What would you do?
Oh, that's my video. I
Great
like
video.
that thing.
Great. I love that. Love that song. We love that video. Love that song. But when I went back and looked at, I couldn't believe that coming off a movie like this, that there was nothing, basically nothing came out of his career after that. Like it was like I was like, you figure that's like that
to
would
have
have
an
done.
iconic movie
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. But that's it's
Mm.
Hollywood. I mean,
It happens. Yeah,
it does happen. So yeah, Theodore Witcher, again, writer and director. There was not much there after after Love Jones. It just for whatever reason, we've seen this story a million times. We've seen this happen a million times in regards to how tough it is in this business. So getting back to the movie before we get to the scenes about some of the movies that came before and after Love Jones. So you have Soul Food came out the same year in '97, right? Another excellent cult classic movie about relationships and also family and the idea of the matriarch. Again, great movie. That comes out in '97. You had The Best Man in '99. Nina Logan was in that. You have Brown Sugar in '02. The Wood in '99. Love and Basketball comes out in 2000. You have The Brothers. That was like that came out, I believe, 05. Poetic Justice. So
you stretching with that one.
What'd you say?
You stretching with that one.
Yeah, that is a stretch.
I mean, I'll watch it, but it's a little bit stretch.
No, it was. It definitely was. Then some of the movies that preceded that came before, like Poetic Justice, Jason's Lyric, those type movies I was talking about before, that was kind of like that struggle, trying, where you have the kind of like the oppressed black woman.
I got you.
So getting into best scenes, again, this was a different flavor. You had two characters who were who were into the arts, falling in love, and just the friendships that they were able to have, that you have conversations. I don't think in 1997 we just did not see this on screen, and that's why it stood out so much. Let's go into best scenes, because I can't wait to talk about the friendships. I found that very intriguing about this dynamic that they had within this friendship. Brother to the Night, the poem with Darius and Nina. So setting that up, they're in the sanctuary. He goes up there. And this is after they have a conversation at the bar, where she asks him, like, what do you think about? And, what are you thinking? Why are you so deep in thought? And he's thinking about a woman that he once knew. And then he goes up there and does the Blues for Nina poem, kills it. And then you have you have Wood, played by Bill Bellamy, doing Wood stuff, being a hater. And we'll certainly talk more about that. If a dude did that to you in your premarital days, per se, how would that go? Like, how would you respond to something like that? I'll put you in Nina's position.
Right. What if she got up and did?
If he got up and
did this poem?
Yes, based on like using your name, and it's like kind of it's geared towards you. It's kind of like he's trying to make a move on you, per se. How would you respond to that?
Well, see, I'm a huge romantic, so that is kind of fly to me. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of fly. It's kind of dope if you consider the setting. Like because she got offended by it, right? Like she felt embarrassed or whatever. But like Nah, I think
She
that's
said she
that's
was
what.
embarrassed. I don't know how
Yeah,
embarrassed
but
she
that's what
was.
I'm saying. Like it was a smooth move.
It
You
was
know,
smooth.
like that
No,
was
it
that
definitely
was
was
pretty
smooth move.
smooth, my
It
brother.
was.
You
It
know,
was.
and
No,
I
it
mean
was.
that's one of the best spoken words ever. So, yeah, yeah,
No, dope spoken word, dope poem. Uh, she was kind of embarrassed, but she wasn't like embarrassed. Like it wasn't like
yeah, totally. It was a
she didn't
whole
walk out the club. She
flirtation
didn't walk
there.
out. Like, you know what I'm saying? She didn't walk out. And
Nah,
they,
it was a whole flirting situation
yeah,
there.
and they spoke after. So
Yeah, the whole
after
initial kind of,
after
play
the
hard to get kind of thing.
right, after the poem is over, um they everybody, everybody met up outside, what have you. And she basically, he basically wanted to know what she think of the poem,
Hmm.
excuse me. And she wrote love on, there's other things to talk about other than sex. And then she wrote love on his hand.
Right.
He doesn't get the
Hmm.
number. His friends make fun of him, but that is the beginning of the chase per se. Um, so he's off to it, and he kind of, his friends kind of mess with him after that in regards to him not getting her number. Um, he says he's like, y'all just mad because somebody approached me, but he was somewhat embarrassed that he didn't get. I'm sure he expected to get her number,
Hmm.
and her to respond differently after that poem. I'm sure I mean, again, and you remember this was the Bill Bellamy hate was like, girls don't see that cool shit coming from a mile away. So I'm sure he's done this before and has worked and has worked in his favor. But again, she's coming off a relationship. She is more than meets the eye. She's not, she's clearly not no girl that's gonna give it up easy. She's not on that tip. Um, so she made it work. Let's go to Marvin and Nina. Uh, so they're well in the relationship at this point, right? He's done the
Hmm.
whole going by her place. As a matter of fact, let's deal with that. So even before that, let's deal with that. So he gets her number and her address from a check that she wrote. She goes to this record store, which his homegirl Sheila worked
Hmm.
at. He She writes a check for some music. Um, he gets the number and the address from the check. Sheila gives it. First of all, Sheila gives it to him. So I guess that's a good friend. That's a good friend.
Hmm.
Sheila, good move by Sheila, being a team player. She gives him he has a number in the check. He has a number in the address. He goes by her place. She lets him in. They talk, and then cause that's when they connect in terms of making their first date, having their first date. Um, if you are her and a dude knocks on your door after doing something like that, I would have to think you would be that would the romance go out the window? Somebody got
I
your
mean,
number.
it's a little crazy. It's a little
That's a
crazy.
little
It's a little
creepish, right?
borderline crazy. A little
Little
creep.
creepish.
Yeah, a little creepish. Yeah, totally. But this is where the romanticism comes in. So, and it's a movie. But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, it's a little creepy, a little creepish. And I mean, yeah,
I see. This is where 1997 comes in. I don't think this.
yeah,
I think in
yeah,
2022 you probably getting some
absolutely
called
not.
on you.
No,
You
yeah,
probably, this
you
is where
getting stun gunned, something.
yeah, you might get a real gun actually nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But this is where this is 1997. This is like it's a different era. So I think that she was initially surprised and shocked, but ultimately I do think even in that scene where because she didn't have to let him in. If you
Yeah,
remember, she didn't have to. She's
yeah.
like you trying to come in. She did not have to let him in, but she does let him in. They go on a date, and the rest on as they connect, they hook up on that first date. So let's get to
Hmm.
Marvin and Nina. So Marvin played by Khalil Kane, and I remember when
Corny dude,
when
mad
Khalil
corny.
Kane came on the screen, girls started yelling in the theater like loud.
Nah, mad corny.
It was it was like I was like, oh my goodness. I was like that's Raheem. Chill out. But
Not Raheem.
yeah, right, exactly. That's the last.
Funny.
No, up until that point, I hadn't seen him since. I hadn't seen him since Juice.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, Raheem lives. So
That's funny.
they so he comes by and so he comes by her place of work, what have you, and says, look, here's a train ticket from New York, train ticket to New York. I want to see you. Da, da, da. And she's basically taken aback, but she does take the ticket. And not only does she take the ticket, she gets advice from Josie. This is they are her and Darius are well into the relationship at this point. Like they're all in. They're dating. They are together. Maybe not together, but at this point they're in the beginning.
They're dating. Yeah.
They're dating. They're dating. Yeah, they're dating.
Mutual understanding.
Yeah, mutual understanding. She takes the train ticket from Marvin, and she gets advice from Josie to go up there first of all, she gets advice from Josie to say, let's see how Darius responds. If he plays the cool role, if he plays it cool, then go up there.
Right. Now that's playing games. That's playing games.
That's walking up very fine. And she got, we'll talk later. She got burnt for that. If he plays cool, go up there. If not, if he trips, you don't need to go. You got him. So she goes there. She takes Josie's advice. Her and Darius have a conversation. She says, by the way, she did not have to tell him because mind you, she is a photographer. She says, hey, I got a couple contacts in New York.
Right.
That's all she had to say.
She wanted to be honest. Yeah.
But she's like, look, I care about you. I want to care. The only reason I'm telling you this is because I care about you. I got some unfinished business, and he immediately makes a connection. Oh, it must be some dude.
Right.
And he says, basically gives her the go ahead without. He plays it cool. He plays it cool, and she goes. She goes up there, and immediately it's a disaster with Marvin, as we knew it probably would be because they're not together in the first place. Marvin loses it over some cinnamon toasted oats.
Toasted oats,
which fellas, is cinnamon toasted oats like
toasted oats?
Oh my goodness! He comes home from a long day of work. They both had long days of work. She's basically told that her work is not slick enough by a white man. So she's had a long day. He's had a long day. Blah blah blah. They're not a couple, mind you. But he's acting like they're a couple again, and he snaps over some toasted oats, and then he wakes up the next morning with a ring on his finger, and she's long gone. What are your thoughts on the whole Marvin situation? Bad advice by Josie. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, here's my question: because how old were they supposed to be in the movie? Because they presented very mature.
I would not guess. That's a great point that you bring up because when I first saw this movie, I would have guessed that they were like mid-20s to early 30s.
30s, right?
Yeah, really 30s. I would lean towards 30s to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were that young.
Very mature.
They were. Yeah, I didn't know that they were that young.
I think what happened that's what I think happens when you're younger, right? When you're younger and you think that you're handling business correctly, her and Marvin's relationship, there was nothing in the movie that gave away that she needed to stay or not stay, that she even needed to go back and see what was up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there was nothing that gave anything toward that. So it was just that she's just in this state of confusion about everything in her life. And because didn't Darius do something that triggered her to want to go back? I can't remember.
No,
that didn't happen.
This was sheerly off the advice from Josie. She followed that to a T.
No, that's what it was.
She
She
said if he
wants
plays
because
it,
Nina.
if he plays it cool, go. If he trips, stay. You got
So
him.
Nina at first expressed to Josie. I remember she was just basically like, I ain't trying to fall for this dude. I'm catching feelings for him. I don't know if I'm ready for that. And that's when Josie, the friend, chimes in. She's like, well, go see if it's still something there. And poor advice, Josie, poor advice. But yeah, so again, I think it's just, again, stupid thinking at when it comes to, like, I mean, you can say it's playing games, but it was just like, not you just didn't think this out, sis.
She also said during that conversation with Josie when they were in the cab that she because remember, this is the scene also too that they had that she told Josie that her and Darius had sex. So this is in that
Correct.
same scene. She also said, "I need to know if I still love him." So she was kind of, I think,
right,
part of her was still
right.
curious.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, part of her was still kind of curious. I remember the opening scene of the movie is her basically daydreaming about that relationship. So clearly, there still was something. It wasn't all the way done in her mind from that standpoint. She hadn't completely closed the door. It was done, but she hadn't closed the door. I'll put that to you that way. The relationship was done. Like that relationship didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
When my man snapped over the toasted oats.
Toasted oats.
Oh man, like you tripping? I'm going to give you some motherfuckers. I'm going out to give you some motherfucking toasted oats. That was the funny part.
Yeah.
It was like 7. It was like nighttime. Like, yo, brother,
I'm going to get these toasted
what are these?
oats.
How good? How good are these toasted oats? You going out? You going out to get some toasted oats at 7 o'clock at whatever in the evening? Oh man, so that was that. That relationship was done. Now every action has a reaction because while she was up there, Darius was moving and shaking. Darius, he meets this girl named Lisa at a bar. They have sex, and he's back in the old player days. He's back in his player days. So she misses a lot. She missed that. That happened. That happened squarely because she left. That probably does not happen.
But see, he also still played the game too, because he was like, "Nah, I'm cool. I'm cool." When she told him, right? Yeah. He was like, "Nah, I'm good." See, all he had to do was say he wasn't good. He wasn't cool with it.
He did. No, he did. He played it. Yeah, they both got burnt themselves. This was a self-inflicted wound for both of them. And that's the epitome of great writing when there's no black and white, there's a gray area. Because I can make a case for him, I can make a case for her. In this case, they both you can make a case that they both were wrong from that standpoint. Right. So when she comes back, she goes back immediately. She goes back to the club to see him. He wasn't there, but Hollywood comes into the play. So this dude. So when she went back to the club, the sanctuary, and Josie's like, it's dead in here. It was dead in here that night, and then Josie's like, not one cutie, and they're on their way out. She says, Nina says, I got a long day tomorrow, so they leave, and Hollywood comes out, was like, yo, I'll give y'all a ride in his hearse. Dude had a hearse. It was not a working hearse, but a hearse, which was hilarious. Bill Bellamy in this movie was great. He was great. And he wasn't in there that long, but for the time, the scenes that he was in, he made them count. So I didn't even at the time so he tries to give them a ride. They say no, laugh at him, kind of make fun of him a little bit. I thought they were making fun of him, but Josie Josie is about to be 0 for 2 because she advises Nina. She sure Nina does to go out with Wood. So she says, Darius is old news. No, she's not. She said Marvin is old news, but Wood. And then Nina says, "I'll call. You came in to see who." She says, "I'll call tomorrow." So she put that off, and then now you have Josie saying, "Hey, Wood is available. What's up?"
Right.
You remember in that scene as well. Nina tried to hook up Wood and Josie. Josie's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's like,
Yeah.
"Nah, I'm good."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she put that thought into Nina's head. Like I said, at this point, Josie was over 2 in terms of the advice.
Yep.
Did you take that serious when you first saw the movie and you say that and you saw that did you ever think something was gonna come about between Hollywood and Nina? I didn't see it coming.
No, not at all. No, not at all.
And we'll get to
Not
that.
at
We'll get to
all.
that part, but I did not see that. That kind of
First
that
of all, it was that grimy. But yeah, no,
no, we'll
not
talk
at
about
all.
that. No, we'll talk about that. There's plenty of blame to go around from with that situation. Darius and
Yeah.
Savon. So Savon, of course, played by Isaiah Washington. This is Isaiah.
HU.
Isaiah Washington. At this point, uh, he was starting to make moves. Like this was before Grey's Anatomy. But he was starting. He would be in Out of Sight the following year. This was like
Yeah.
one of his. Like he was starting to really. Like this was one of his things that kind of catapulted him into stardom before he
Mm-hmm.
before he jacked threw it all away on that with the Grey's Anatomy situation. Um, Isaiah Watts, he's good in this role. He's good in this movie because he's a married. He has smart dude. His
Mm-hmm.
Darius his best friend. So they're shooting pool, and there are a couple scenes with them, but this one particularly stands out. This is when Nina had left, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
when Nina had gone, and he was pissed, but he didn't let her know he was pissed.
Yeah.
So he had to let somebody know. He had to blow off steam some way. So he tells Savon like, look, if dude was handling his business, then why am I hitting it? And so on and
Mm-hmm.
so on. And he's talking all this shit, da 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 da. And
Mm-hmm.
Savon was like, brother, what's the point? Like, I don't know what the
Right.
point is. But then he says, he's real with him. He's vulnerable and then tries to pull back. He says, it wouldn't be so bad if I didn't think she was the one. And then
Yeah.
Savon almost chokes on whatever drink he's had and says,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Like, yo, the one. Because remember, I'm sure he's known this dude for a while now. He's watched him, run around
Right.
with all these women and, go in and out of relationships left and right. And like even there was a scene
Right.
where he says, you haven't been in a relationship longer than 6 months ever in your life. So he
There you have it.
again, Darius tries at that point is trying to he plays it off. First of all, he plays it off like he's not like he says, I got you. I got you. He said, I don't get caught. He said, basically, I don't get trapped. I don't get trapped. I hit and I run like a thief in the night. And he said, let me check your wallet. It must have said bad motherfucker in it. But Savon is smart. Savon knows he's full of shit.
Yeah. Totally.
So when Darius walks away, you can see the actual what he's actually feeling. Like, yeah, he thought that she was the one, and he's hurt. She hurt him by leaving, by going to see that dude. So Savon knows it. Darius knows it. Darius tries to play it off. What do you think about what were your thoughts on that scene?
We talking about. I'm trying to picture this thing that you talking about.
So when he tells not her, when he tells Savon, when he's upset that she went to New
This
York
is when
first.
they're at the table, right?
Yes, no, this wasn't the pool. I confused the scenes. This was not the pool scene. This was not the pool scene. Was when he told after they had
Yeah,
sex.
not when he's talking with Darius.
Yes, this is at the table when Savon and Darius are talking. They having a drink. Yeah, not at the pool.
Them
This is not the
two.
pool
Got
scene.
it. Got it. Got it. Got it. But wait a minute. Hold on. Because I might be today years old when I find this out. They didn't do it though. They didn't have sex.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Wood and Nina.
No, 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 no.
Oh.
He's upset. Darius was upset that Nina
Oh,
went to New
Darius
York.
is correct. Got it.
Yes.
Okay. I'm with you.
Yeah.
This is when
This is
Darius and
before he
Savon.
this is
Okay.
before what he didn't even know about Hollywood at this point.
Correct. So, okay. Very good. Very good. And this is Savon basically trying to tell him, yes. Okay. I mean, you look at him as like a big brother, like, or like the more, now see, it's more complicated because he got a mess going on at home with his wife. Okay. But,
Yes, he was married. Yes.
but correct. But, I mean, again, it's like a Josie and a Nina. You have a friend, that's where it's always good to have a friend that can go there with you, that can really tell you, where you're wrong in your thinking, or, kind of just be that other perspective for you. So I respect it. But again, he had some mess going on in his house.
Yes. So,
and that's when he's like, if anybody else got something to say, they can step.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that was. They could step
with their hands.
Do I love my wife? Yes. Is she here? No.
Yes. No. Right.
So at this point, before we even get to Wood, Darius, and Sheila at the sanctuary, let's go to Wood and Nina. So Wood comes into her place of work, where she's taking pictures. He comes in, was like, look, I want you. I just take pictures of me. I want photographs. I want Polaroids. I want all of that. If you give me, for one dinner. And she's like, all right, Wood. The Billy D thing is a little played out, but you get 10 cool points for trying. But he convinced her. He's like, look, I'm serious. I'm into you. I'm serious. She says one dinner. He's like, just one dinner. So they go to dinner.
One dinner.
And listen, look, listen. My uncle told me a long time ago, rest in peace, said, it don't matter how you look. If you're funny or can sing, you can pull a woman. So Bill Bellamy was hilarious. Wood, despite his
witty.
Despite his personality defects, and he had a few, we'll see. He was funny. He was funny. So he was funny, and he was funny and charismatic. Like he was the guy. He was the guy that cracked jokes. And mind you, Nina is weak at this point. Like she doesn't know what direction she's going.
Correct.
So he took advantage of her. He caught her at a perfect time from the standpoint of seeing. Like she wouldn't looked at a dude like Wood prior. Her right state of mind.
Right.
I think. But he caught her at the perfect time. He cracks the jokes at the at the dinner about the girls. The lady asked her what type of underwear she was wearing. She said she said she wore bloomers, which I would never believe that Nia Long.
Oh yeah.
That 22-year-old Nia Long or 27-year-old Nia Long.
I believe it.
You said you believed it?
Yeah, sure. I don't know women, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
A nice bloomer.
So
get you right.
She says she said she was wearing she said she wore bloomers. He cracks a joke about it. They hit it off. Next thing you know, so Wood is like the man now. So this scene. So let's go to the Darius Wood Sheila scene. So Darius finds out about Wood through what's his name? Savon told him. So Savon was like, welcome back. Not welcome back. He's working on his book. He said, I heard your girl is back in town. And he's like, she's not my girl. She said, then he told him about off screen, he told him about that Wood and Nina were dating. So Wood comes into the sanctuary like a celebrity, hugging everybody, got the good sunglasses on. Sheila, it was hilarious. Like I said, Bill Bellamy was great in this movie.
Yeah.
Sheila and Darius are sitting at the table. She was like, yo, I heard about Wood and Nina, be cool. He's like, no, I'm good. So they have this back and forth, Wood and Darius, about Nina, and basically he says, working a late shift. Yeah, I used to work the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And they go back and forth. Somebody pages Wood, and he says, oh, hey, when that happens, so they go back and forth. Darius leaves angrily or annoyed. I didn't say angry, but annoyed. And Sheila chastises Wood about messing with Nina, says, so it's your turn to hit the skins. And Wood's like, no, I really like this girl. We had dinner, we kicked it. so on and so on. So now we have a situation where you have Neil Long has single-handedly basically broke up part of the crew in about 6 weeks. So let's I know you're gonna break this down once we get through the Wood Nina at the Sheila's party. So they're dating, right? Wood and Nina are dating. They're going dating they're going at it. Not going at it, but they're dating. He takes her out. Now, at the same time, Sheila's having this party. Now, I had to set this party up because there was a lot going on in this party. First, so even before that, we gotta go back to, you mentioned this earlier. Savon and his wife are on the outs. Something happened. He said if we save money, we wouldn't be in this shit. So, the old saying, no romance without finance. Maybe that came into play. Whatever. She leaves him. They have a son together, Troy, who had no words in the movie, but whatever.
At all.
He was just silent. He's got his head patted. So they leave. She takes the son with him. So he's in a bad spot right now, separated from his wife and his son. So he comes to the party, Savon, mind you, with a professor. I believe he was I think that he was a professor at a school.
Oh yeah.
He was a professor at a college. So I think it was this was he comes in the party with this girl named, and I'll look it up, Tracy Powell. So he comes to the party with a girl named Tracy Powell, and Sheila gives him this look like, nigga, you what? And then
How dare you?
He was like, they just walk in, what have you. So that I had to really, that's very important considering how they treat Hollywood at the end of this particular scene. So Wood comes in with Wood tells Nina is blindsided per se. She has no idea that Darius is going to be at this party.
But no.
Hold on.
Okay.
We'll get to it. I know where you're going because I actually probably agree. We're probably on the same page. So Nina was supposedly blindsided. She shouldn't have been blindsided, but Wood tells her, "Look, I'm taking you to this set. Couple of friends, chill, cool, whatever." So mind you, all the friends are at this party. All the friends are at this party, including Darius. He was one of the friends, and they walk in, and Nina immediately, you can see the body language looks just like dumbfounded, like a deer in headlights. She immediately goes to the bathroom. They chastise Wood, saying, "You are so foul." They all the friends just jump on Wood, and then Darius, sees Nina. Nina comes back and tells Wood once she sees Darius at the party, that changed her whole vibe. That changed her whole vibe. She says, "Hey, take me. I need to speak to you outside." Talking to Hollywood. Hollywood comes outside with her. She says, "Take me home right now." And then they get into it, and he's like, "Look, you can't tell me that you didn't know that he was going to be at this party." And then she at this point she's not even trying to hear it. You embarrassed. She said, "You embarrassed the shit out of me." So on and so on. Are you gonna take me home or not? Then he had that famous line, "Hell no, walk."
Yeah, right. Walk.
Walk. This is which was the worst thing he did, by the way. That was some fuck
Absolutely.
bullshit. He took her home.
Do that.
But other than that, I gotta defend Hollywood here. So he comes back in the spot. They like, yo, they already chastised them. Like Darius bumps him, saying you left a black woman out at night, so on and so on. And Sheila says, "I have nothing to say nothing to say to you." And after that, we saw Hollywood one time looking stupid during a musical montage, looking stupid and lonely. So here's the thing about this situation, and here's what like life brings you perspective. I'm glad this is what I love about watching a movie about reviewing a movie years ago in terms of how your perspective. At the time, I was like, damn, Wood, that's foul and da 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 da. But I'm like, yo, no, Nina, you mess with two dudes in the same crew. First of all, there was the whole thing was full of hypocrisy. Like, I'm damn sure not gonna be judged by a dude who brings another girl to a party who, when you married, that's number one.
Right.
Stefan, you married, you coming at me, brother. You brought a chick
Right.
to a party who not even your wife. So I'm getting criticized by
Right.
you, and then Nina, Nina messing with two dudes in the same crew, which was foul. So I
Yeah.
think Wood took, besides the fact that leaving Nina in the middle of the night, that was foul. But I think Hollywood's character took a lot of heat, unnecessary heat, when I think half the problem was Nina. To be honest with you, what were your thoughts?
You think half the what? What was the
Half the
last part?
problem with Nina was half the problem in terms of that situation. Like, in terms of
Heck yeah.
she's dating
I
both
mean,
dudes
yeah.
basically at the same,
Like,
not at the same time, but she's messing with two dudes in the same crew, which I know you as a woman, that's against girl code, right?
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's not even, that wasn't even a girl code thing. That was a guy code thing because it was really Wood and Darius that were homeboys. So that was messed up with Wood. But she was just grimy because, like, come on, that's his boy. And you know that. And you knew that there was a high probable chance that he would be at this party. Like, so don't play stupid. She knew what she was doing.
Yeah, so you made me think about something. Both Wood and Nina very had like bad ulterior motives. Like, Wood knew Darius was gonna be at that
Yeah.
party, so
Yeah.
he just
That's
was
why
like,
he did that. Yeah.
he did it to be like, yeah, I'm dating your girl. What? That's what that was about.
Yeah.
And Nina, just even if she didn't think Darius was going to be at that party, you're still dating his boy.
Yeah.
You're still
Yeah.
dating his boy. So Wood goes, not Wood, but Darius goes and chases Nina down. They have a conversation. He waits for her to get a cab. He says all I want you to do is basically see get home safe. It was the middle of the night. And then they get into an argument before she gets into the cab, where he criticizes her for going to New York and criticizes her for messing around with of course Hollywood. And then she comes back at him with
Know what that spot.
she comes back at him
You
with a
know
couple
what
of
I'm
things.
talking about.
No, with the girl, not only with Lisa. He comes back at with Lisa, but she also says you act like you didn't care when I went to New York to see Marvin. But that was lightweight. The part that she came back with, that she was able to hit him with, was what about Lisa? And then he didn't even forgot about it. He's like, well, I don't know what
You
you're talking
know what
about.
I'm talking about.
Yeah. And then as she pulls off, he's like, oh yeah. Then it comes to
Yeah.
it comes to his head like, yeah, Lisa. So you had that going on. That follows the Wood Nina Sheila part at the party. That follows the party scene. They end up getting, before we get to the Darius Nina breakup. Of course, they got back together. They started dating again, going hard. Like, they so when as they start dating, she starts taking on, and this was great acting by Nia Long. She starts taking on his characteristics. She's wearing a hat backwards. She's smoking, uh, drinking a lot, drinking more. Did you notice that over the course of the movie?
What? That she started drinking? Yeah.
That she
Oh,
started
totally.
and smoking
And
too.
smoking. Yeah.
That she started taking on his characteristics in terms of, from that standpoint, because she moved in with him. That's eventually she moved in to his place. Now, mind you, he's in the midst of writing the book. A lot of pressure, of course, as you're married to a writer. What comes with that? And he's in the mid. This is like this could be his big break. So, we could have probably predicted that they were going to break up again.
Yeah.
So they're in the parts of the relationship where they're full blown relationship. They go into the sanctuary. They they're deep into it, and then all of a sudden, she it's almost like he got bored with her or started taking her for granted, Cause she's like,
Yeah, I don't know what that was. That transition was weird, but I
yeah.
mean, yeah, yeah,
So he's typing, and she's like, "You want a beer?" And he blows her off,
yeah.
and then they get into this conversation. Um, and then he reverses. He does a reverse on her. Like earlier, so early in the movie, she takes pictures of him. They have sex. She's like, "This is my personal collection." She's taking pictures of him. She has him take his clothes off. She was like, "This is my personal collection." So he does a reverse on her. He grabs her camera and starts taking pictures of her. She's like, "Stop
Mm-hmm.
playing." She's smoking, whatever. And he's like, "What? You don't trust me?" And then she says, "No, I don't."
Mm-hmm.
And then that just spills out into, and
Yeah,
then all it's the gloves are off at this point.
yeah.
She says, "You give me no reassurances. You're getting 5 a.m. phone calls from the girl Lisa. You still have her number on the refrigerator," which to me was crazy. I'm like, "Yo, dude, y'all, you still got the girl number. You still got your
You're
other chick.
wild, sir.
You wild for that." I'm like, you can't at least hide the number. At least, like when he when he first let her into him's house earlier in the movie, it was a girl's picture. He was at least smart enough to put that down so she couldn't see it.
Oh, right.
You remember
Yeah.
that? So,
Yep.
but this was like that's why I said to you earlier in the scene. I thought he started taking her for granted and getting bored with her because he was just doing whatever, like from that standpoint.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't. I'm trying to think when that transition happened. What I really think is that he, like a dude, got back in his feelings about because they kind of brushed over that wood thing. You know what I mean?
They did,
And I
yeah,
feel
they
like
did, they did.
in many relationships, the men, I've been in this for a
Oh,
minute, but
so
men
I'm
hold on
glad
to things a little bit
I'm
longer.
I'm glad you brought that up because he is writing. Okay, he's almost done the book at this point. He's in the stretch
Uh,
run. He's writing,
uh,
and she brings up wood. She's like, "Do you think I slept with wood?" That's what triggered the argument. She's like, "Do you think I
right.
slept with wood?" He was like, "I know." He said, "I learned a long time ago not to ask questions that I didn't want the answer to."
Correct.
And then that triggers off a whole. Then she said she did. She admits that she didn't, and then that triggers off the argument where eventually he takes her camera and starts trying to take pictures of her, and then she says she doesn't trust him, and then he brings up she brings up Lisa and what have you, and then they like that. Then that was like their up until the end of the movie. Of course, that was the nail in the coffin as far as their breakup,
Correct.
where seemed like in that breakup that she clearly was more bothered by it than he seemingly was. Um, she was like, I'll collect the rest of my things later. He's like, close my door when you leave and what have you. He tries to play it cool again. So they break up. What did you think about their breakup?
Uh, Again, I think given how they got back together, it was just it's kind of like the tell all for relationships, like where communication is really key. Like they really didn't talk through that whole situation, of his feelings of her going to see Marvin and how she felt like he didn't, we didn't see that. We didn't see them really communicate about and I guess, it's a movie and it's a romantic movie. So don't nobody really want to see that. But I think it was an example of how when you don't have that communication, these things kind of fester up, and they explode. So there you go. And there was still, remember, Lisa was still calling him. So
Yes,
it was
at
still
5 o'clock in
like
the
this
morning.
whole, yeah, it was still kind of this like immaturity in the relationship where neither one of them trust each other.
Or trust each other to a point. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
totally. Well,
to a
trust
point.
is trust.
Trust is
Yeah,
trust is trust. So they break up. Um he gets his book published, of course, completed. She has some she goes to New York. She's on her way for an interview to New York. He gets a phone call from Josie. This is probably the best thing Josie did in the whole movie. She calls Darius. They're chilling with some friends with the crew minus Wood, of course, at his place, shooting the shit. And she lets him know. Josie lets him know that Nina's on a train to New York. Maybe catch up with her. He plays it off like whatever, and he ends up going to try to catch her, and he barely misses her. She doesn't. He makes the train, but she doesn't see him, and then we fast forward to he celebrates the book being published with Saban. Saban, we through a montage has gotten back together with his wife. If you were wonder at home, so they celebrate that, and Saban jokes with him about I would have paid money to see you chasing a train, running after a train. So then we fast forward a year later. Nina now is doing stuff with Vibe. She's highly successful. His book has published. They meet up again they spy each other again at the sanctuary. She comes into the sanctuary. He at first was not there. She reads a poem by this famous poet Sanchez. Color of Night, I believe it was the name of the poem. She reads that for the spoken word. It was her first time. She gets introduced by his boy Eddie, who I think was probably one of the guys who was not even one of his friends, but one of the people that worked at the spot. So she reads that poem and then throws away her journal, and then he spots her in the rain. This was a very cliche-ish rom
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. In the rain, and then he basically tells her he loves her. I want to be with you.
Yeah,
That's urgent, like a motherfucker. Like she's she's of course in New York. He's like, I don't care. We'll make it work. So on and so on. And then they kiss, and then there you go. What do you think about the makeup scene?
That ending?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, yes. And I love that it was kind of like open because we're gonna figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, this love that I have for you just won't go away, regardless of whatever is going on. We're just gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
So it leaves it kind of open. But yeah.
Thing I love about this movie before we get into the deep dive, it had every cliche known to man. I mean, you got Darius Love Hall. He got a motorcycle riding and coming out the smoke. Just how they got make up the breakup. But I was here for it. I was here for it. It was not even though it was cliches, it wasn't corny. And to your point about the makeup scene, that makeup scene was not cheesy. It was like we'll figure it out. It doesn't mean it's gonna work, but we're gonna try. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't riding to the sunset type stuff, I felt.
Yeah.
Let's deep dive this friendship because I this was one of my main reasons for doing this podcast when I started thinking about this. So you have these, how many was it? It was, let me see, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5 of them. Okay, 5 of them. Got Wood, Darius, Savon, Sheila, Eddie. Okay. 5 is important, very important number, very important. There were like pockets within that group. And I'm gonna explain I'm gonna flush this out. Savon and Eddie, not Savon and Eddie, Savon and Darius, tight as a drum. That was the number one friendship out of this crew. They were tight. Big brother, little brother. I'm the married dude with the kid advising you, so on and so on. So they were tight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Savon in Hollywood, eh.
Oh no, yeah, no.
They wasn't. They would. He
I
would.
don't even know how.
He
I
would.
don't even
He
know
would criticize
how.
Hollywood. Be like, yo, you need a visa and a breath mint to get women. So they're not tight. Okay. Hollywood Sheila tight. She was. They were kind of remind me like a brother sister, like that chastise each other, or she would call him out on
Yeah,
his bullshit.
yeah,
They're tight.
yeah,
They're relatively
yeah.
tight. I would say that Darius was tight with everybody with the exception of Hollywood. We know they wasn't fucking with each other
Totally. Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Even Eddie and Wood wasn't like that. Eddie and Hollywood were not. They were like, eh. So this was a very interesting group of
Yeah.
that was friends but
They
not
don't feel
friends.
like, yeah, they don't feel like the best man friend group.
No, no, no,
They don't feel like
no,
that. I get where
no,
you're going. Yeah.
no, not at all. Like it was almost friends of I don't know. I won't say convenience or friends of.
Yeah.
I'm
I
trying.
don't we don't know their history. We don't know how they all became friends, right?
Right,
So
right. But it was
yeah.
interesting because I don't like. I'm like, yo,
I think they were just friends of friends. So
yeah.
you know
It
what I
was
mean?
almost like
Like
they
friends
tolerate. It was almost like
intertwined.
it was almost like they just half of them just tolerated each other,
Totally. Yeah.
like just because it was very, like I said, it was a very interesting dynamic. So me personally, I don't know how you feel about this.
Uh-huh.
I do think that there does come a number for a group, and if it gets past that number, I think you're going into kind of dangerous territory. Like I
Uh-huh.
really think five is about it, and that might be a stretch. But five is you can't you. I don't think you can go more than five for a group to click and hang with each other like that. I don't.
Well, again, you talk about young groups depending on their age, because y'all came from the cliquish groups.
We did.
Your Temple crew.
Yo,
Okay.
so I can give you some
So
background. We had the group had to get smaller too at times. It was bigger than that.
yeah, no, I'm sure.
It was bigger than that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It was bigger than that. So I I think that if you're talking about a group of like 6 or 7, it's like, huh,
Yeah, nah, that's too
that's a lot. It's a
much.
lot.
Yeah.
Even
Which is
even
why you end up with conflict. So
yeah, yeah.
mm,
Like this, like to me, I'm thinking about like how did like I would want to know like how did Hollywood get into the group? Because to me, he clearly was the odd. I mean, he ended up being the odd man out. Of course, he ended up being out. But
totally.
I could see if I take Hollywood out the mix, then that core four, I can see that core four. I can see Eddie. I can see
Mm-hmm.
Savon, Eddie, Sheila, and Savon, Eddie, Sheila, and Darius. I can see that's a core four. I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
But Hollywood clearly, the only one Hollywood was messing with like that was Sheila. If we based on what I saw in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
that was it.
Yeah.
That's why I go back to that. That's why I go back to that scene at Sheila's house when everybody just jumped down his throat.
Mm-hmm.
Even before they knew he left her on the street. Even before
Mm-hmm.
that, they jumped on his throat saying like, "Why did you bring her here?" and so on and so on. I'm like, "Whoa, you don't see
Right.
the other side of
Right.
this?"
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Like that wouldn't have immediately like to me the friendship was over at that point. It was done. So that to me,
Totally.
I really had to like rethink this how real, just how solid this friendship was.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I don't think the movie gave us a background. You know what I mean? Like to the levels of friendship that they were. So yeah.
I mean, it kind of did a little bit because with Savon and Savon and Darius, you got a sense that they had known each other for a while because he says Savon has seen. There was a scene when they were talking about the book. He's like, it's like talking about when he completed the book. He says, this is a long time coming. I know how hard you did work, something to that extent.
Right.
So there definitely was a background and a connection with those two. Then he Darius sitting on the beach with Eddie, drinking and talking about their ex-girlfriend. So that, if you're doing something like that, that's a connection with him from that standpoint. And of course, Sheila was cool with everybody. Sheila was like Sheila was the glue. Sheila was the glue.
Was she though? Sheila was like the chick that be like, see, this is what I'm saying. Like Sheila was like the random chick in the guy group.
Yes.
That the outside women be like, girl, why are you here?
Yeah, she was. But Sheila was the one that kept everybody, would call people on their shit.
Yeah, because she would call people out. Sure, okay, yeah.
But yeah, no, very interesting dynamic with that friendship. I was like, they were like friends in pockets, and that could be dicey. That could be dicey. When everybody's not when everybody's not cool, that's like, ooh, this can go left. It can go left real quick. All right. We have a couple segments. Questions for Tiffany.
That be me.
That be you. Has this movie aged well?
Totally. And it's aging well because, like you said, like as you get older, you watch it in a different lens. Totally. It's still like a classic staple for your Valentine's Day and all of that, but it's still like just a good movie. You know what I mean? Like the music is good, seeing the Black people on the screen is good, the vibe of the movie, the tone of the movie is good, totally.
And even more, and I agree with you 100%. It's definitely aged well. I hadn't seen this movie in at least, man, I want to say 15 years. I can't remember the last time I saw this movie. It's not on cable a lot. It's not.
Well, it's been on cable a lot lately, but yeah.
Oh, it has. So it's been like, I know I saw it on Showtime. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like I just randomly saw it a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And
Okay. I hadn't seen it in a long time. I had not seen it, in a minute. Yeah, no, it's aged extremely well because some of the stuff that went on in the movie still goes on, of course, today in relationships. So I think it's not like that part, and then the friendships and the dynamic of those friendships. I've seen these groups. I've seen these type of groups, and we've heard stories about these groups going left at times. So and just like to your point about seeing us as African Americans, Black people on, he's a writer, she's a photographer, Savon was a professor. You know what I'm saying? The poetry, the music, takes you back to your time. Even he was on a typewriter. He was using a typewriter. I was like, I hadn't seen a typewriter used in the movie. I can't remember the last time I seen a movie where a typewriter was being used. And again, it's very nostalgic. Like you remember what that time was like. And we spoke earlier in the podcast. It really, like I said, this really was a game changer for romantic comedies, especially Black romantic comedies moving forward. From that standpoint. So yes, definitely has aged well. Are Darius and Nina still together today? So
that's a good one.
Let's set this up from a standpoint of where they were at when we left off. He is about to blow up as a writer. The book he looks like to me that he's going to be.
I always say, yeah, okay, yeah.
He looks to me like he's going to be a very successful writer. The book published. She's doing her thing in New York, so she's ahead of him per se, because she's in New York doing stuff with Vibe magazine. They had a history of being on and off per se. It was going to be a challenge. What are your thoughts?
I think what are we, 25 years later?
25 years later.
Are
25
they
years
still
later.
together with
25
kids?
years later.
I don't know. I mean, I want to say yes. I want to say yes, but it all depends. Like, again, it depends on, I feel like they both entered a new phase of life. So I feel like they learned so much from what happened in that prior phase. I can say that they might be okay. I can't say. I can't say. I can say that they might be okay. Yeah. I don't know.
I say a hard no.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why. Tell you why.
I didn't want to say no, but
It's a hard no for me. They are too ambitious for the relationship to work. I think he's going to be a big time writer. I think this book is going to take him to another level.
She's working for Vibe.
She's working for Vibe. Exactly. That's my point. She's working for Vibe. So she's already there, per se. And you're talking New York and Chicago. We're not talking about Chicago and St. Louis here, or Chicago and Indiana. We're talking about New York and Chicago.
Sure. I definitely think that both their professions and the setting and everything could easily eat them up. Yeah.
I say, totally. I'm like, who is going to concede and give up, sacrifice their career at that point in their life? And I say neither one of them. I just don't see it. Like, I don't. Someone would have to be like, yo, you do your thing, and I'll figure it out, and I'll sacrifice part of.
But I think that's how it ended. That's how it ended. They were just like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm saying that I don't think they're going to figure it out. I don't think they're.
Okay, that's honest.
I don't think they're going to figure it out. I think they go 3 or 4. I think they go 3 or 4 years with the on and off thing again. I think they keep breaking up, making up. I think that they go through that cycle for a minute, and then they just say, you know what, we're better off. You know, listen. We've seen this situation over the course of our lives. Two people can love each other and not be good for each other.
So then I have.
Here's the question. Ultimately, here's the question to me, for you. Are they better? Are they good together? Are they better together?
I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I have questions. Did they have kids? How are they still living in New York?
Ooh.
Where are they in their careers? I don't know. Because the thing is, you can see how both of them kind of crumble when they're not in a good space. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
And you just made
but that's good.
No, it's a great hypothetical. It's clearly hypothetical.
It's a question. I got a question.
Yeah, that's all. Here's the thing too, as well, that makes me think that it wouldn't work out. They don't handle adversity within a relationship very well. Like, I didn't like they like they don't like something comes up and it's like the sky is falling when there's some adversity in their relationship based on what we saw throughout the course of the hour and 50 minutes of the movie per se. So no, I ultimately think it doesn't work out. I think they do. Now again, I don't think it would end bad. Like they hate each other. I think it would be a mutual thing. Like, look, I want you to be successful, do your thing. We're gonna be successful, I'm gonna be successful, do my thing, and we just have a friendship. That
possibly, yeah.
I think they would be friends. I think they would be friends. I think they would. I think they would mature into a friendship.
So that's what I'm saying. So like, even if you compare, okay, let's go Darius and Nina, and then we're gonna put another movie against, around that time that came out, another couple. So Darius and Nina, to say, what's Love and Basketball? What were their names? I can't remember their names. I forgot. But that couple, right? But
Quincy and Quincy and I forgot the Salon Lathan's name. Yeah.
But are they together? You get what I'm saying? So like, I think also, again, that tone of that movie, very artsy. Like Love Jones is very artsy, very like underground.
Quincy and Monica.
You know what I mean?
Quincy and Monica.
Quincy and Monica.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Quincy and Monica are still together.
Yes.
They're still together.
For sure. They had
right?
a kid. Yeah. Well, but no, here's the thing. Here's the difference though. He hurt his knee. He was like, he hurt his knee and he sacrificed his basketball career from a standpoint so she could play professional basketball and he could be basically a girl dad and raise the kid. Not by herself, but he did. They had to be a sacrifice for that. So he wasn't going to make it to the NBA. And he got hurt. That's what the name. What if Quincy doesn't get hurt? I don't know. But once he got hurt, he wasn't going to be in the NBA. So it was like that was an easy. I was like, all right, I'll this basketball thing, I'm gonna put it aside. I'll be a family man. You do your thing. I'm gonna push for you to be in the WNBA.
Yeah.
But I would love to see what would have happened we use for that hypothetical if Quincy doesn't hurt his knee. And he has NBA prospects per se. Matter of fact, he was in the NBA. He got hurt. Yeah. No, he got hurt. And that was it. Basically. That made that, decision easier for him just to be like, all right, we're gonna have a baby, and you doing your thing. So you're like, you do your thing, play professional basketball, what have you. I'm gonna help, I'm gonna be, like I said, be a girl dad, Mr. Mom, per se.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think somebody would have to just sacrifice. Like basically take one for the family, for the relationship. And I don't see at this point where they left off to the movie, I don't see either one of these characters taking one because they were just going like the iron was too hot for the both of them. Like she's doing Vibe. He just published a book. This was his first book. And you have to be a very, very selfless person to sacrifice your career and your life's work in essence for a relationship that is tenuous at best considering the circumstances of being 700 miles away from each other.
So
it's like, okay, I'm gonna sacrifice this and we are not gonna see each other basically. I don't know how often we're even gonna see each other, so it'll been a lot. It's a lot. It'll been a lot for Darius.
It is a lot.
It'll been a lot. The odds would have been stacked against them moving forward. All right. The movie MVP. One of our favorite categories.
Movie MVP. I was a huge Darius fan.
Okay.
When this movie came out. Yeah. I was a huge Darius fan. Yeah. I mean, that was a slight crush on Lorenz Tate, but I'm gonna go only because I loved his acting in this movie. So yeah.
No, the acting was I was fine with the acting. Both of them. I actually thought she was better, to be honest with you. I thought Nina Long was better in this movie than I.
Yes, totally. I mean, both of them were great.
I just her just because I actually think she morphed into becoming him.
Yeah.
That's why I think they broke up because she basically became him. She started acting like him.
Yeah.
And it was like, hold on, we were at the beginning, we were polar opposites. Like, look at her body language in the beginning of the movie versus when they broke up, before they broke up. It's completely different. Completely. Her facial expressions, just how she sat and how, just like I thought she, I'm not, she's not even my MVP, but I thought she actually was better than him in this movie. But it's not by much, but both, both the cast was perfect. It was perfectly cast. Casting trivia. I don't know if you knew this, but Jada Pinkett Smith was originally scheduled to play.
No way, really?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No,
I wouldn't let no. It wouldn't have worked for me. I just can't. No. Like, first of all, like, in all due respect to Jada Pinkett Smith, Nia Long is a far superior actor than Jada Pinkett Smith. just superior.
Oh, totally.
It's not even close.
Totally.
Not even close.
Yeah, no.
And
not
even now, the reason why that she was not, of course, at that time, Jada Pinkett Smith was white hot. Like this is like that era where she, she's in all these movies and she's clearly a bigger star. It's not even close from that standpoint. So that's one of those things that the studios got lucky because I don't think it's the same movie. I don't. I don't think
nah.
I don't think it's the same movie. I just don't. I'm trying to picture her with Lorenz Tate. Like,
no, not at all.
Nah,
not at all.
Nah, that time in her career. I mean, mind you, this is when she was making like Woo.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, I don't think I've ever even seen her make a movie like this.
Nah. Yeah. I couldn't. They got lucky with that one. She couldn't do it or something like that. No, sometimes you luck into a movie with the casting because there's been some casting snafus that have been like, oh, if this person would have get, but no, like we said earlier, these two were perfect for these particular roles. They like these two at the times in their careers, being as young as they were. Like I wouldn't have wanted any other actors. I couldn't think of any other actors. Who else could have played Nina? What about Regina King?
No. See, Regina's always presented too much older.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And she's like, how Regina King gotta be close to what? She's in her 50s now?
Yeah,
just even not even about the age. It's about the
she
whole
always presented
presence.
that way.
Yeah, the presence, the on the screen presence.
Yeah.
Nah, I can't think. I mean, no, I'm trying to think. Black actresses now. Nah, I mean, maybe Sanaa Lathan could have pulled. Sanaa probably could have pulled this off. Sanaa Lathan probably. Yeah, I think so. Sanaa could have. This could have been. Yeah, Sanaa could have done this.
Totally.
And I wouldn't have been upset. But Neil Long was the perfect one for this. It's not even close. It's like this.
For sure.
She was born to play this role. They both were perfect for the role. My movie MVP though was the soundtrack.
Absolutely. I ain't know that was in the running. I could have with that too.
Yeah, the soundtrack is the soundtrack to me was the MVP. It's from start to finish. I love the various transitions of the movie. The soundtrack was right on point, right on time with it. The montages were great. There's a montage where they fall back in love. They're running through the grass. It was either Tina Broussard or Cassandra Wilson. Remember, now I have to look it up now. But the soundtrack was like just ridiculous. Like I said, I would recommend anybody. Just great music throughout the whole. You Move Me, Cassandra Wilson. That's what it was. You Move Me.
Oh yeah, I remember Cassandra Wilson.
Yeah. Like I said, you talking about, like I said, Deion Ferris. It was so many just great acts on here, variety, from up and down all across the board. The jazz, the neo soul, little some R&B, of course. So just the sound is one of the best soundtracks of all time. To me, it's not even close. I could make it. I can't think of a better movie soundtrack in all my time. To be honest with you, so I had the soundtrack as the MVP of the movie. Finally, winners and losers of the movie. Start with the winners.
Nobody was ever a fan of. Oh, okay. Winners. Darius and Nina. I gotta go with them.
Darius and Nina are definitely winners. The culture won with
the
this
culture.
movie.
I'm glad she was gonna go there.
The culture. We got a dope soundtrack, and we got Black characters who were nuanced. And like I said, during this particular time, it wasn't violence or oppression. We had a non-violent and non-oppression.
It was good stuff. Yeah, man. It was light.
Yes.
It was just about love. The story was the story,
Falling in and out.
Love one.
Love was a winner.
Love was the winner.
Losers.
Yep.
I gotta say losers. I gotta say Hollywood. Hollywood's a big loser
Yeah.
in this movie. Yo.
Yeah. Totally.
Hollywood was a big loser in this movie.
Lame
Uh,
beef.
the hating friend.
Yeah.
You leave a woman out in the middle of the night. You mess with your girls, with your man's ex girlfriend. Yeah, not a lot. Yeah, not a lot to say good about Hollywood in this movie. No, outside of Bill
Nah.
Bellamy's performance, he was great. Bill Bellamy's performance,
Totally. Yeah.
great performance. Bill Bellamy was a winner. Hollywood loser, Bill Bellamy winner.
Yeah.
Josie,
I agree.
gotta put Josie in the loser category. Not the.
Really?
Yeah. Josie gave some bad advice. She gave some
Yeah.
bad. The going to see Marvin was
Well,
bad.
I mean, every friend has that moment though.
Yeah, but that one could have been the relationship could have
But
been over.
she also wasn't a hater though. Like Wood was
No,
a
no,
hater.
no, 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 no.
She
I'm
really
not
wasn't
comparing.
a hater.
I'm not comparing it to Hollywood. But but she gave her that bad advice, and then she gave her that. But the one that sealed it to me for Josie was that it was Marvin, and then the second one was what was the second one? She gave two pieces of bad advice. I forgot the second piece of bad advice. They were in the cab. The Marvin was big though, because that led to like the Hollywood. No, Hollywood Nina. That was a bad advice. That was horrible.
Yeah.
That was hard. That was worse than Marvin. You advise your homegirl to mess with another dude in the crew? Nah.
Well, yeah.
Nah, that was Sorry, Josie.
Yeah.
She almost redeemed herself at the end with the phone call, but he didn't make the train. So it's like, you called too late.
He didn't make the train.
You should have called a day earlier.
Nah. Yeah, exactly. She threw him a bone there. So yeah.
Theodore Witcher is a winner and a loser. I had to say, you made the film, but afterwards, it was like,
Yeah, that's messed up.
that's like, that's rough. That's rough. Yeah. I should know what I'm not gonna put him in the loser category because I can't blame him for it. Sometimes Hollywood, it's just how it is for us sometimes. It's just like I can't. If that's his one hit, then he can live off that forever as far as notoriety, as far as what like there'll always be people always talk about this movie, but that is a rough career afterwards. Man, that's rough.
Yeah.
Like
totally.
You don't get another
make nothing
job.
else.
No, that's rough.
I mean, yeah.
But that's that's the game.
That is the game.
Who else I want to say? Winners and losers. Cinematography winner.
Totally.
The shots were incredible in this movie.
Totally.
Especially the black and white shots. Remember the beginning we talked about. Just incredible. Just how the faces, the close-ups. Yeah, the cinematography was ridiculous in this movie. I loved it. Neo Soul was a winner.
Who?
The
Neo Soul.
The Neo Soul movement.
Totally.
Jazz was a winner in this movie.
Oh man, Chicago stepping. I absolutely love that scene. That scene when they went stepping. Dancing.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
Dancer. But
that's a classic Chicago style of dance. Yeah.
That was a good
scene was it.
Yeah, that was the Chicago stepping was no, that was a great scene. That was a great scene. That was then she chastised him saying that was our first real date because they're on their first date they went to the Wild Hair. He took her to the Wild Hair and they nothing wrong with reggae music, But yeah, Chicago stepping was the class like that was more of a classy classy date. But that's why, to your point earlier, these characters, even though they were in their 20s, they presented as like they did present as like 30-year-olds dating. You got that sense, right?
You said what?
I said even though that the actual characters, the actual actors were in their 20s, Like he's 27, he's 22, she's 27 in real life this particular time. How
Correct.
their characters presented like they were in their, say, early
In the
30s.
30s, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. It was very mature. Very mature.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what made the movie so sophisticated to me. So yeah.
So we both love this movie. Like I said, it is one of the best rom-coms. I mean, listen, forgive me. We always say, I make a mistake by saying black rom-coms. This is one of the best rom-coms ever. Like, let's keep it a buck. Definitely one of the best in the last 25 to 30 years. And they don't, frankly, make rom-coms like this anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's either, Marvel or, or just extreme or violence, some type of still violence or violence somehow.
Yeah.
So this kind of got a movie like this can get lost.
Yeah.
In the mix, but I'm glad that I'm glad that 25 years later that we were able to recognize this movie. Now we talked about this earlier. We might have talked about this before we got on. Boomerang versus Love Jones, the movie, not soundtrack. We know it's not even close.
Totally.
Soundtrack is not even close. This Love Jones soundtrack is far superior. And I love Boomerangs, but it's not even close from that standpoint. But as far as the movie, Boomerang versus Love Jones.
The movie Boomerang versus Love Jones.
Yes.
It's tricky because it's a little Boomerang. I gotta go Boomerang.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the ultimate tipping, the thing that tips the scale, of course, is Eddie Murphy. Like that's it's Eddie, it's Eddie. It's Eddie.
Well, that's the other thing is like you also got to think about the mood that you're in when you watch these movies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Very closer than one might think, though.
Yeah.
A lot closer than one might think. I think a lot of people automatically would say Boomerang, but I would have to. I still have to think about it a little bit. Like it's not like clear cut. Like you said, you're thinking about the mood that you're in. Boomerang is a different type of vibe. This is definitely more of a date movie, without question.
Yeah. Definitely. Right.
Boomerang you can watch with anybody. I mean, Boomerang's more versatile. You can watch with friends, date, or what have you. So Boomerang is like you can watch anytime, anywhere. Like I don't think it has to be a specific vibe for Boomerang.
Nah, no, not at all.
Well, that is going to wrap it up. Thanks again to Tiffany Quinn. She could not have done this without you. Wouldn't have done it without you.
Thank you kindly.
You proved why you were the rookie of the year.
Okay.
Why you
rookie of the year. Still holding strong. New year beginning. Beginning. Back again.
And we will look forward to our next podcast. I don't know when that will be, but whenever it happens, we'll look forward to it. All right. Thanks to everybody for listening. Nobody's heard it yet. You will eventually. You will hear it. I will have this podcast up during on this weekend, so you will be able to check it out. And as we look back again at Love Jones, 25 years later, that is going to wrap it up. Have a great, great rest of your weekend. Happy Veterans Day. So long.